Bonjour any neuf, hello year 9 and welcome to the next lesson in the series from Working at Home à la Maison. Today we're going down a grammatical path, looking at how to form the future tense, still within the context of clothing and going out. To be able to do so, we're going to have to be able to look at the verb aller and therefore forming simple sentences in the future tense. Now there is a reason for this. If you're not taking GCSE French, well, Mrs. Hillier and I have still got to give you a overall level, which then gets sent off to the government for analysis. Use of the future tense will help you get into the level 7 category. If you are taking GCSE French, then you need to be able to use it in order to get a C grade at the very minimum. You need to use 3 different tenses to gain a grade C, the present tense, the past and the future. So you can consider this a very brief dip into the future tense teaching. We will of course cover it again in year 10 and year 11 so that we don't ever forget. But this is the reason why. Right, the future tense then. You are going to need to know the verb aller. Now I'm going to explain all this in detail as we go through the presentation. You use that and you combine it with an infinitive of another verb. At this moment in time you might be thinking to yourself, right, I'm already lost. That is normal. Okay, we've got fancy words here like aller and verb and infinitive, and you might not have a clue what these mean. Stick with this video and you should know by the end of it. So, a future tense phrase might look a little bit like this. Je vais, meaning I am going. And the colour coding here means this has come from the verb aller. And then porter, meaning to wear. That is an infinitive of a verb. We'll get on to more detail on that right now. So, in English, from the verb to go, think about that now, verb doing word, to go. A verb is any word that you can put the word to in front of, and it makes sense. So to go, to run, to hop, to skip, to jump. Can't have to green, for example, because that just doesn't make any sense. But as I was saying, in English, from the verb to go, we get phrases like, I'm going. You are going. He is going. She is going. And so on. Now it works very much the same way in French. The verb aller, you saw that on the previous slide, means to go. And here is a breakdown of the verb in full. Now honestly, for most of us, as long as we can deal with je vais, I am going, you're going to be fine, because even at GCSE level, a lot of the tasks that you'll have to do, particularly in the speaking exam, will be about you. So as long as you can say and spell je vais, you're on to a winner. Okay, so I'll just run through these. Je vais, I am going. Tu vas, you are going. This is for one singular person or someone who you know very well, like a friend. Il va, elle va. He and she is going. Nous allons, we are going. So that's you and maybe a friend. Vous allez, you are going. Plural, so if it's multiple people or if you're being polite, speaking to like your nan or your boss or something like that. And then finally, il and elles vont. Both mean they are going. The first one, il, is for a group of males. The second one, group of females. If it's a mixture, you would go with il. Okay, so that is the verb to go in French. We are halfway through. Now we've decided who's talking, who is the subject of this sentence. So I, you, he, she, etc. You need an infinitive. Now an infinitive is just a fancy word for a verb. Now in French, there are thousands and thousands of verbs, much like there are in English, but handily, they're categorized in 3 ways. And it's to do with the spelling. If you look into the dictionary and look for some random words, an infinitive verb will end in either er, ir, and re. Now if it ends in anything other than that, it's not a verb. Something else. Okay. Here's some examples. On the left hand side in the white box, I've got my verb aller. Remember, I'm going, you're going. That should say you are going, by the way, not I'm going. And so on. That's part 1. You then add an infinitive verb, which I've got here in the yellow box. You'll notice, look, they all end in either er, in this case re, and if I wanted to, I could have stuck a ir verb in there as well. There's no other fancy spelling, this is them. So all I want to do is take something from the white box plus something from the yellow box to make a future tense sentence. So for example, I'll start easy. If I want to say something like I am going to eat, I'd go je vais manger. Future tense. Another example, just so that it sinks into your brain. I want to say she is going to visit. Elle va, she is going, visiter. Elle va visiter. I can give more detail if I want, by saying exactly where she's going to visit. But that's pretty much how it works. On to some practice. Now this example then is the very first thing you'll see on the worksheet that I have attached to this lesson, and it'll help you to complete all the tasks. Now, first task is this. Fill the gap with the appropriate form of the verb aller to make a future tense sentence. So really what you need to do is to look at the gap. Look at the word before it. Look at your verb aller in full, which is down here in red, and you fill in the gap with the appropriate word. You're not translating, you're just filling in the gap. When you get to number 6, Loïc, this is someone's name. Think about that one. Think about what number 9 might be saying. Moi et mes amis. Me and my friends. Which part of the verb would you use for that? And so on. The next task then would be to match up the sentence in black to the sentence or the statement in orange that would make the most sense. So for example, tu vas regarder. It would be a good idea to know what regarder means. Where might you find that? You have it here. Well, what are you going to watch? Is it your homework? Is it a football match, a cathedral, a banana? Who knows? What would make the most sense? You just match it up. See how you do. The next task then will bring in our knowledge of clothing. So you complete the following sentences with an outfit that you would logically wear for the activity mentioned. So pour aller à la fête, it'll say on your worksheet that une fête is a party. So in order to go to a party, je vais porter, I'm going to wear, and whatever it is that you would wear. Hopefully the vocabulary here now is not too difficult. Mariage is what it looks like. Match de foot, football match. Supermarché, pour faire du shopping. Et promener le chien, walking the dog. What might you wear? In fact, right, it doesn't even need to be logical. If you want to make it as ridiculous as you like, feel free. We enjoy reading anything creative that you can come up with. If you can include colours, fantastic. If you can add styles as well, then you're on to a winner. And then finally, just to ensure that we can recognise the future tense written down, I need you to mark next to each of the statements whether they are present or future tense. If you think that the sentence is present tense, you will put PR, or P, next to the statement. If you think it's future tense, put an F. Now in my example, look, I've got j'écoute mon iPod. I listen to my iPod. This is a present tense sentence, so I've put a P. The next one, je vais jouer au foot. This is future. I know this because I've got je vais, which is my form of aller, and it's got an infinitive verb. Both together making future tense. You don't have that in my first example. So you need to decide. Je joue au tennis. Present or future. Je vais faire du vélo. Present or future. Je vais regarder un match de foot. Present or future. J'ai un frère. Present or future. Je vais voir un film d'horreur. Present or future. Je vais écouter de la musique. Present or future. Je vais finir mes devoirs. Present or future. Il regarde la télé. Present or future. Il va voir un film au cinéma, present or future, and on va aller en ville, present or future. Now when you're done, the extra task there is to translate at least 3 of those sentences as best you can into English. As ever, folks, make sure that you save your work, then submit it to Moodle via the Add Submission button, and your teacher, whether it's myself or Mrs. Hillier, will mark and get back to you in due course. Merci et au revoir.